Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our council meeting this evening. It's nice to see so many people here. It's great to have a full council chamber. So we're going to move right along here, and I'm going to ask if there's any for anybody to disclose their pecuniary interest. Seeing none, we've got a resolution moved by Councillor Dirksen, second by Councillor Zimmerman. The minutes of the town of Minto, April 7th, 2026 regular council meeting be approved. All in favor of that motion? It's carried. Thank you. Got a resolution moved by Councillor Gunson, seconded by Councillor Potnowitz, that the town of Minto convene into the committee of the whole. All in favor of that motion? That's carried. Thank you. We have a public meeting this evening. We'll start with the public meeting. It's consideration of the engineer's report for Drain 44. I will act as the chair of this public meeting, and I'll ask Clerk McRobb to outline the purpose.
Yes, thank you very much. The purpose of the meeting is to consider the engineer's report prepared by Streamline Engineers, Inc. of Milverton, Ontario, dated March 11th, 2026. The notice of the meeting were sent to 15 landowners, Bell Canada, Whiteman Communications, and County of Wellington, along with the report. Also, copies of the report were circulated to town staff and the Ministry of Agriculture, Food, and Rural Affairs.
So I'll ask Mr. Trevor Kipfer from Streamline Engineers to provide us with a summary, please. Trevor, the light is green.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Looks like our presentation's up there. Great. Well, thank you very much, Mayor Turk and Council. I'll try and keep this brief. We don't want to be getting in the way of the kids in their soccer field, so I'll try and keep this pretty quick. My name is Trevor Kipfer. With me is Mike Seaman over there. We're with Streamline Engineering out of Milton, Ontario. We were kind of the main two in charge of the work on this project. Certainly appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight and be providing services for the town of Minto. So we were appointed this past May to provide for an improvement to municipal drain number 44. The drain is located just west of Drew, near the intersection of Wellington Road 2 and Ayton Road. The existing municipal drain is from 1958 and starting to show signs of age with numerous blowouts observed along the course of the drain, which is causing extended periods of flooding. Further, the drain is undersized by current design standards. So if you look on the kind of slideshow there at the left, that gives you a general idea just to the east of Clifford there. The middle picture there is, it might be hard to tell from a distance, but that's the drain blowing out. And that's where there's been a lot of flooding and backing up onto the fields. And the picture on the far right there is just some flooding that was from last year. If you would have been out in the past few weeks with all the rain we've had, there's been quite a lot of acres that sit underwater. So, and then you can go to the next slide. So we had an initial site meeting for the project on May 22nd of 2025. Following the meeting, we conducted a survey, came up with a design and cost estimates, and presented our findings and recommendations to the involved landowners at a meeting on December 11th of 2025. So based on our investigations, meetings, and follow-up discussions with many of the affected owners, our final design includes 113 meters of channel work, an improvement of about 1.5 kilometers of municipal tile drain, with tile sizes ranging in diameter from 21 inch to 36 inch, 4 concrete structures, and improving the crossings of Wellington Road 2 and 8. If you wouldn't mind going to the next slide. Our project costs, we proposed assessments as follows: $461,000 assessed to private lands. A lot of those end up being agricultural, so we're expecting about $151,000 in OMAFA grant to go towards the project. $78,000 to the town of Minto, $83,000 to Wellington County owned lands, and then $4,000 assessed against the affected utilities. And if you just go one more slide, as for what breaks up that total $626,000, we've got construction estimated at just under $480,000. Landowner allowances at $35,000, engineering, tendering, and construction review $82,500, and other costs such as net HST, printing costs, permitting fees, things like that, at just under $30,000. And thank you very much. That concludes my overview.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Kipfer. I'm going to ask if there's any speakers want to provide information that might influence the council's decision this evening. Go ahead, sir. You state your name and speak into the mic, please.
My name's Curtis Dykstra. I got a lot of notes, probably won't use most of them. This is awfully intimidating. What's red now? There, it's green.
So would you mind starting again then, please, sir? Now that it's on?
This
My
is your
name's
name.
Curtis Dykstra,
Okay, thank you.
and this is intimidating. I agree this is necessary. I agree with the act that carries this sort of work. The intentions are not one person has to carry the burden of a whole watershed if they want this job done. My portion is roughly, it's getting close to $100,000. So my frustration is probably obvious, but I agree with it. I agree with it has to be done. Something has to be done. And it's fair. But some people might not believe this. When I was in Sunday school, I memorized scripture for a cookie. So don't be surprised when it's $100,000. I read this whole thing, the whole act. And these guys did a great job with their proposal and the act. You could almost cut and paste back and forth what their requirements were and what's written in the act. And it's a good act. And when I read it, it was riveting. I understood how it was written. And as you go through it, it starts to come to you as in this act, to put a petition in, you need 2 neighbors before we even get here. They have to realize there's a problem, and then they have to talk about it. And they have to figure out, is this worth it? Is this serious enough? And they both have to agree. Not everybody has the same financial situations. So there's your blockage. But you, as good neighbors, you can get along and talk your way through it. Maybe we don't do it this year. Maybe we, wait till your kids are out of university, or move stuff around and be good neighbors. And well, just gonna make sure on my notes here. That didn't happen here. The law was followed. In the act, it says 2 landowners have to do this. And that's where the intention of the law was cheated. Because Wilma Shannon owns one piece of property, and Jack Shannon and Wilma Shannon own the other piece of property together. So they didn't have to talk to their neighbors. They were able to do this on their own. There's some of these notes I can't read. I don't know if they're not brave enough to cross the road. It doesn't matter. All these meetings we went to ahead of time, at the end of the meetings, at the end of our questions, the engineers and Mr. Binkley told us it doesn't matter. It's going to happen anyway. Well, for somebody who's already a little bit frustrated with this, when you get told it doesn't matter, we're going to do it anyway, then you start getting angry. It doesn't sit right in your gut. And it's not the intent of the law being followed here. Yeah, it's the laws being followed. I can't disagree with it. It's the intention that's been busted. And unfortunately, premeditated. And you ask, what? Nice. I was sitting at a table at Christmas when I first started farming in this area. And my family was discussing how to, succession plan, how I was gonna get into the industry with my father-in-law, my mother-in-law. And asked the question, why are your farms all under different names? And at that time, the answer was, I can get around municipal laws that way. And I thought at the time, I didn't care. I was excited about getting my first farm. And I thought, who cares, Jack? Didn't matter. Well, here we are 20 years later. They cheated the intent of the law. This isn't anymore for me about $100,000. This is wrong. And I'm skipping over notes because I find myself getting angry and emotional, and that serves no value. Apparently I'm not allowed to swear.
No, Curtis, you're better off not to.
Thank you.
We have children in here tonight. Just take your time and make your point.
I don't even know if I should bring this up, but I'll say it anyways if I'm time to write it down. Wilma was a teacher. And a principal. And a principal. So that increases the number of people she had to deal with that cheated likely every day. She just quit. Now she's retired, right to our faces. Almost proud. Cheating.
Okay, I'm going to cut you off. What I want you to do is get to the point. Okay.
The point is, I think it's wrong. Okay. And I have two recommendations, and this is according to the law. One of them can take their name off the petition, but I don't think that's gonna happen. My second point is for council. I don't think you can squash this. I think it's excessive. Excessively priced. I don't think the land can ever recover this cost. The crop loss in these areas that are the problem will never pay this bill. Ever. Not in any of our lifetimes. I recommend cheap solution. Send it back to the engineers and say we have to bring the price of this down. Make it more reasonable. Take a ditch from one side to the other. Don't bother burying the culvert. Everybody else in the neighborhood has open ditches. I don't know if that's considered a luxury to have it buried, to not have to farm around corners or triangles. Yeah, it's inconvenient. I don't think they deserve any more than that. And this does benefit me, but not to the tune of $650,000 for the total bill. And that's an estimate, who knows? I've always wanted a property with a river running through it. I think it's neat. So I guess I'll go read the rest of this to the cows. They've heard it before, and they don't mind swearing.
Curtis, can I ask you a question? Sorry for butting in.
Yeah.
Did you bring these points up when you were having the meetings at the Drew Ballpark or wherever the meetings were?
We did not the point about how it's cheating. I didn't come to understand how much that bothered me.
Okay.
Since the time between the last meeting and this one. Open ditch has been mentioned, relatively quickly dismissed, and everybody at the meeting was told it doesn't matter, they're gonna do it anyways. So when that's the conversation, most people just say, what's the point? I'm surprised there's this many people here because everybody was just told it doesn't matter, they're gonna do it anyway. So. I hope
Okay.
that answers your question.
Okay, good.
Thanks for your time.
No, thank you very much for your comments. So the next item here is for questions from council, but I think yeah, we can do that
Good afternoon. The council, I'm glad to be in front of you. I'm Jack Shannon. I was the main one to start petitioning for this. But I agree with Kurt that this price, the farms are never going to recover that cost. And I know I just did my farm income tax and the farm would not even feed anybody. Total 300 acres wouldn't feed anybody. But way prices are, but I am just, like I said, the drain was an open ditch. It was closed up when I was 5 years old. And the drain put in there then. And it starts out at about 8 to 10 inches and ends up at like 20 or 21. And since the drain was built, there's probably been 500 to 600,000 feet of tile put into that drain. And if you look there now, this spring was the most water we've ever seen, and it's dried up. Ponds have dried up twice, and then each rain we had 3 or 4 acres flooded again in 2 different areas. So, like I said, I sure was not expecting this cost. I know how Kurt feels about the cost. My cost is roughly $180,000. And you know what, a farm making less than $10,000 profit per 100 acres, that's going to take a long time to ever return that money. But I said, but for the last 25 years, every year the drain blows out in the field and I have big holes to have to watch out for. And when it does heavy rains or that, it goes, the tile under the road on County Road or on Ayton Road is bigger than the tile coming away from the catch basin. So water comes under the road and up out of the catch basin and flows right across our 2 farms. So that's kind of, you know, why we got into thinking we needed this repaired. But obviously it's a lot more money than we were hoping for. But so the ball is rolling, and I don't, like I said, somebody's going to pay the engineering costs there now if it's shut down. So I don't see anything but going ahead with it. But I said that Kurt isn't like me. Wilma and I are both getting pension and that now, so you know we have a little more money to play with. But I can see the people that are just starting out it's a lot of money for them. But I don't know what we can do. That's all I can say. I'm sorry Kurt feels the way he does.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Mr. Shannon. Yes, absolutely. Go ahead.
I don't come to these meetings to be slandered or defamed. I think I have a good set of morals, and I certainly do not expect that a neighbor and a relative by marriage would attack me in public like that. Just putting it out there.
Okay. Trevor, can you respond to 2 or 3 of these questions? I hope you wrote them down so you
Yeah.
know exactly.
Yeah, I was trying to keep, just maybe a couple points of clarification. So for Curtis, I think, so one point of clarification, so your property's assessments, when you consider the grant, the total expected out-of-pocket cost is closer to 60,000, no 100,000. So I'm not sure if that was something that you were aware of, but certainly that's a fairly major consideration for the.
Curtis, if you don't mind letting Trevor finish.
So that was just one point of clarification I wanted to make. Yeah, certainly can definitely appreciate it is a significant amount of money being assessed for this project. What we're proposing is really the most cost effective. We're using a butt jointed concrete pipe. It's unreinforced pipe. It's about as cost effective as you can get. You know, to get any significant cost savings, we could look at, you know, lowering the pipe, making smaller pipes kind of thing. You still have a lot of the install costs that would be included with that. So you're kind of saving pennies on the dollar in my mind. And I guess I do apologize to Curtis there as well. The channel option, that was something that I'll be honest, we didn't look at it that closely. I wasn't under the impression in the meetings and whatnot that we had that was something that would be seriously considered. I do have a fair amount of concerns with that option just off the hip kind of thing. I don't really think I need to get into that right now. There's other things that would need to be considered as far as permits and stuff that have already been acquired for the design and stuff that we have approved. So I'll maybe just leave it at that. And as far as the sizing of the system, I just comment that, yeah, we're going for that 1.5 inch drainage coefficient, which very much so is industry standard. What we've designed, and this is by no means in excess of what would be typical of any other kind of project. Yeah, I think that's basically all I have to clarify.
Okay, thank you. So we're gonna move, sorry, is there anybody else in the house that wants to talk that might influence the council's decision? Curtis, I'll give you a couple of minutes, okay?
Just a quick second.
Yep.
Just to talk about the grant thing a little bit. I have my reservations about that. Of course, it's nice to have that support. A grant is from OMAFRA is funded by taxpayers. OMAFRA pays themselves, so the money's redistributed back out to the public at a deficit, and it doesn't go to everybody. So essentially, the people are paying for this job. It's not directly me, which is nice, but everybody else is paying. It's not free money. It's not donated money to this cause. It's taxpayers' dollars going to it. And if you can put it under the cloak of a grant, that sounds nice, but essentially it's money out of people's pockets. It's the way I see it, but I just wanted to make sure that it helps.
Okay. Thank you. I'm going to open it up to questions. If there's nobody else that wants to speak, I'm going to open it up to questions from council. I have one question, Trevor, and it was Curtis that brought it up about the actual petitioning, two people, two landowners. Obviously, you wouldn't have even went any further if this wasn't all the right thing to do. But can you comment on that?
Maybe just, yeah, so what determines a valid petition would be the area requiring drainage is usually the key word that we kind of consider when we're looking at a petition. On this particular project, the areas that are flooding do end up being on the Jack and Wilma Shandon properties. And then the slightly different process too, because this is an existing drain, this is actually a request for drain improvement. So yeah, as far as that process goes, there was an existing drain already there, and yeah, we're looking at, again, it was from 1958. That can be instigated from any number of landowners putting in a request for improvement. So I guess long story short, yes, it does meet the requirements for the work to be done. So.
Okay, and so another question. I think you stated that this is the most feasible way to fix this drain going forward.
In my opinion, yeah, I think this is what we would recommend. Yeah, we could look at slightly smaller pipes kind of thing. I personally don't think that that's wise because a lot of the cost for this work is the install price. So you just save the supply price of the pipe. In my mind, it makes sense to do it once, do it right kind of thing, get it to a proper standard. I know in our conversations, yeah, with the landowners, there didn't seem to be any concerns with the sizing that we were proposing.
Okay. Thank you. I'm going to move along to our town drainage superintendent. Pardon me?
If you could pass the numbers.
Okay. Then I'm going to read item number 7. I'm going to ask if there's any members of the public who wish to add or remove their name from the petition. Okay. Now I'm going to ask our drainage superintendent, Mr. Ryan Pinkley, to present his report.
Thank you, Mayor Turton. I guess I just want to start by jumping on what Trevor was saying there, that this is technically a request for improvement, not a petition. This is once a municipal drain is formed under the Drainage Act, it's the municipality's responsibility to maintain it. These opportunities for improvement, but essentially the rules that govern the petition process don't typically apply for an improvement. It's just a request and we bring the process forward. So I'll just start with that, but moving forward, this, as Trevor said, I'm not going to rehash his report. He generally covered the age of the existing infrastructure, and I think it's fairly clear how it's not operating as efficient as some of the landowners would like. So I'd basically like to just skip to the council's recommendation here for you guys and just give you some more background on that. So like the purpose of today's meeting is to formally consider the engineer's report by Streamline Engineering dated March 11th, 2026. As we've already heard, the affected landowners have had their comments, and now it's up to council to decide. And I'm recommending two options. One, option A for council is to provisionally adopt the engineer's report by giving it first and second reading of the provisional bylaw. So basically what that does is it begins the appeals window, and the landowners will have an opportunity to appeal to the quarter revision regarding the costs associated to the project, and they can also appeal to the OMAFRA or the drainage referee, for any other typical appeals. I just like to say that in this meeting that there is still an opportunity for appeals for any of the landowners that are unhappy with council's decision. And option B is to refer the report back to the engineers for modification. Typically, this is chosen when landowners bring up items that council feels needs to be reassessed in the report. And we should caution council that if doing that, you should come up with exact reasoning for it and what you'd like the engineers to reconsider, as any more investigations usually adds to the extra cost, but that's obviously your decision. So I don't have anything else to say at this time.
Okay, thank you very much. So this evening, we must decide whether or not to proceed with the project by provisionally adopting the engineer's report by bylaw or referring the report back to the engineer for modifications. There's no right to appeal assessments or other aspects of the engineer's report at this meeting. These appeal rights will be made available later in the procedure. So I'm going to ask Clerk McRobb to note the bylaw.
Certainly. So if appropriate, a bylaw will be presented during open council, if that is the wish of council. I know that Ryan kind of read over his recommendation. And if it is council's wish, I can read option A to start with and see if that is something that you want to go with. That the council, the town of Minto receives report Public Works 2026-021 regarding the engineer's report for the improvement of municipal drain number 44 for information purposes. And further, that municipal drain number 44 engineer's report prepared by Streamline Engineering Inc. dated March 11th, 2026 be received and provisionally adopted by council through first and second reading of the related provisional bylaw. And further, that the Court of Revision for municipal drain number 44 be scheduled for Tuesday, May 19th, 2026 at 3:00 p.m. in council chambers. That would be a motion before council.
Not tonight. Not today.
There has to be a motion
Okay.
made, whether we're gonna pass and
Okay.
do the bylaws, so.
All right. I'll entertain a mover and a seconder for this bylaw. Thank you, Councillor Dirksen. Councillor Zimmerman. So it's a positive motion that we're going to go ahead and accept the report. So I'm going to call the question if there's no other questions. All in favor of the motion? All right, that's carried. So I'm going to officially adjourn this meeting of considering the engineer's report, drain number 44. Thank you. We'll just take a moment for anybody that wants to leave to do with the drain. And if there's anybody outside, like, what do we got, a few chairs there? Dr. Fisk, will you? Okay. Okay, so we're going to move into delegations. We have two delegations this evening. We have Ann Clerk from the Harrison Region, crosswalk between Laura and Mill Street. On behalf of the delegation, would you be the presenter? And that's the thing. And we make sure that
We've been serving the needs of their families since 1939. That's 87 years of service in Harrison, Clifford, and Minto Township. Our mandate ensures that we honor those who served or are currently serving this great nation of ours. We are charged with the duty to remember. This includes the education of our youth in how we gained our freedom. We are proud to fulfill this duty. And bursaries are available to students in need of assistance for post-secondary school education. We offer poster and essay competition, as well as public speaking competition for our youth. Our Legion branch serves as a hub in Harrison for several service clubs and seniors who use our space for their meetings. Monthly foot clinics and the good food bag delivery are other services who use our space. We are a fully accessible building, and there have been many upgrades over the years. When you visit our branch, there are many events happening. Sports programs, including the pool leagues, dart league, and now cornhole is a new event. Our monthly bingo and Catch the Ace draws continue to bring people into our branch. And since its inception in 2019, the Catch the Ace fundraiser has funneled more than $135,000 back into this community. This includes funds given to the Palmerston and District Hospital Foundation for various needs, as well as the MRI project, food banks, sports clubs, and school needs, to name a few. And our newest project was brought forth in the fall of 2025. We started a buddy coffee check program. And this is for veterans and emergency response people, many of whom may be struggling with PSTD or PTSDs, if I get the letters right. Attendance is building as word gets out to more veterans. Other branches have attended our program, and our members have joined with other branches that have this program running. Now, back in 2014, we began our banner program. And we're proud to note that there were 86 banners hung in Harriston and 28 in Clifford in 2025. Many thanks to the town employees who hang these every year in October. Remembrance services were held in both Clifford and Harriston at their cenotaphs, with school children, Harriston and Clifford Fire Departments on parade with us. The 1943 Norwell Army Cadets once again stood guard and assisted with the wreath-laying ceremonies. Community events are enthusiastically supported, including the Harrison Street Party events, Christmas parades, parties and Christmas hamper project yearly. And Our Ladies Auxiliary continue to provide endless support to our branch and community, serving wonderful meals and hospitality. They continue to lend a hand as needed to keep Team 296 running smoothly. So you can see that the Legion is as relevant today as it was 100 years ago. The conflicts have changed, but the Legion has adapted to the needs of our community and the time. We are welcoming, inclusive, and growing. Thank you for your consideration of this worthy project, lest we forget. Any questions?
Sure. Well, if there's questions, now's the time to ask. Ann? Go ahead, Councillor Gunson.
So I don't know if it's a question or comment. Maybe Mike can help me out with this one. So the proposed crosswalk, the location, my concern is the traffic that goes over top of it, the transports. How long do we think this would last with?
They're telling us 4 to 5 years.
So we have a crosswalk there currently, just the white. And how often do we redo that one?
We paint it annually the way it is, but it's just the standard white paint. The proposal for this would be the durable paint, which does have a longer life expectancy.
Okay. And then moving forward after 4 years, who would be maintaining it? Would it be the town or the Legion?
I guess that's a question for when we have to do that.
Okay.
Other questions? Yeah, and go ahead, Councillor Dirksen, sorry.
Thank you, Mayor Turton. I was just curious, are we looking at, this is not a touch screen. Are we looking at just the paint? I mean, I know that's what the estimate is, the quote that you got. Or would we be looking at the lights and the
No,
whole?
there'll be no lights there. It's already a stop sign. So there's no chevrons, there's nothing to,
Okay.
and it's a municipal street.
Mhm.
It's not the highway.
Right, okay,
And it's also our Veterans Way.
yes.
So that's why we think it's the appropriate spot to put this. It's highly visible with the traffic.
Other questions? Councillor Zimmerman.
Well, not maybe questions, but comments. I mean, there is no denying that the Legion plays a vital role in our community without question. That's for sure. I'm just wondering, like, where we're gonna find the money? Should we maybe send this to town staff and come up with a plan, perhaps?
That's exactly it, Councillor Zimmerman. You want to?
So through you, Mayor Turton, I would, just perhaps for your consideration, a motion would be that the council of the town of Minto receives a delegation from the Harrison Legion for information, and further that council direct staff to bring a report and recommendation for the requested crosswalk and funding to a future meeting, if that makes the most sense.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
And I'm sure there'll be
the
dialogue
words right.
between the Legion and Mike and the town. So we're prepared to do that tonight. But I mean, I would like to add my own, similar to what Mr. Zimmerman said. I mean, there's no doubt about it that the Legion in Hairston is a very active Legion, and it does a lot of great things for this town, and it has for many, many years. So, I mean, I personally think we need to support this and get on with it. We've been talking about it for quite a number of years, but again, we need some dialogue. And so I'm going to ask a mover and a seconder for that. Deputy Mayor Anderson, Councillor Zimmerman. So we're going to receive the delegation and we'll get back to you.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, all in favor of the motion? That's carried. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming. If you folks want to give up your seats for other folks that are out in the hallway, that would be much appreciated. I understand John Pinkney's going to be opening a tab tonight.
I know you're don't missing out. I really would like this to be done this summer
Okay,
because of the 100th anniversary.
so that should have been one of the questions, timing. So Mike, can you confirm that we'll get on this ASAP?
We'll get a report.
All right,
Thank you.
or, sorry, but maybe it's not you. Somebody here will. Jeff, is everybody in?
Just trying to cool off right now.
In a second. We'll wait till everybody finds a seat. There's a few over here. Thank you very much for your patience, young people. And ladies and gentlemen, our second delegation tonight is the Minto United Soccer Club, and Mr. Jeff Klepp, president, is going to present. Welcome, Jeff. Is that the green light is on the mic?
Yeah, I think so.
Perfect.
Sound good?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Try to do this justice at this point in time. Good evening, Paul, and Mayor and council members. My name is Jeff Klemp, and I'm the president of Minto United Soccer. I want to start off by saying this isn't really normally how I do things. I don't take this role lightly, and I usually enjoy to do this more in a collaborative fashion. But as president, it's my responsibility to stand here today and speak on behalf of the executives and many of the families I represent. We appreciate your time you've taken to hear us and and we want to be clear. Our concerns are not with any individual group or event. Our concerns is how our soccer fields, which are a key community asset, is being used and protected. I'm here today to speak about a growing concern in our community. There's a lack of clear user policies and bylaws that should be in place to guide how our parks and recreation spaces should be used and protected. Without those bylaws and policies, the community sports fields are at risk of being used in ways that compromise their condition and availability for youth and organizations they were built to serve. Today, we have a petition of 171 people in 3 days to be exact, asking that we do something about this. You as council and mayor to protect our soccer fields. Let me tell you a little bit about the soccer fields. They have cemented in nets that have been there for over 20 years. And the nice thing is that it's there, accessible for anybody to use. That's the greatest part about it. They have been there for 20 years, and for not having any drainage in this field, it sheds water very well. And at that point in time, it makes it so that we can actually play on any rainy day at that point in time, which is nice. From what I was told, 5 years ago, it was very flat. But since then, there's been dints, ruts, and uneven terrain that has been caused by misuse. The field even has netting added to make sure that balls do not get kicked into vehicles in the parking lot. but currently we are the only sports field in Minto that has no man-made barriers to control and limit access to it. The town has been more worried about soccer balls hitting cars than they are about protecting the soccer field itself. In the past 3 years, we have had vehicles do donuts, lose a field. We have also had a field drive across, people drive across our field as a throughway. And for the last 3 years, we've also had an RV park on our field. This has led to damage and shortened season for our youth. This seems unfathomable to put at risk the largest youth activity, soccer, and a major asset in our community. I did want to make sure to put this into perspective for everybody by comparing it to one of our closest townships, North Perth. When I asked North Perth, I received their bylaws in 3 business hours, and they even have them all just right there ready for anybody to read online. When Listowel hosted Hayloft Music Festival on August 2nd, 2025, they had 5,573 people come through the gates in one day. Right beside Hayloft was a soccer field. That soccer field, and this asset meant so much to North Perth that they agreed that they put in part an agreement for Hayloft that the event had to have security guards and crowd control fencing to stop anyone from even walking on the pitch, not even anybody driving. So they actually put up to stop people from walking on it. It is crazy to us as a soccer community the drastic difference between townships. North Perth actually added a cost to an event to make sure to protect an asset, whereas we have created an event that puts an asset at direct risk. Even more depressing is how we've been treated in the last year. Let me say this again, we are your largest youth activity in Minto Township. In 2025, we had 235, and in 2024, we had 252 local youth participate in soccer. Soccer itself is the #1 most participated in sport in Canada and is played by over 200 countries. This sport transcends ethnic, religious, and even social issues, making it one of the most accessible sports in our community. Almost every new family comes to Minto speaking soccer, even if English might be a struggle. So for right now, I just want to go through the timeline of events since we've had this. The timeline shows interaction with the town since we condemned our fields in July 2025. On September 6, 2025, we wrote an email to this room outlining very specific things. One was ongoing displacement of our program. Another was the presence of RVs and heavy traffic, leaving dense ruts and holes through our field. We received an acknowledgement from the mayor and an assurance from the CO saying, and I quote, "We will take your comments and concerns under advisement as we review the situation." From our side, perfect. It's all figured out at that point in time. But as we can see by us being here, we started to hear sort of rumors to the contrary. So we reached out in January of 2026, just to clarify our position on the benefits of keeping a soccer field an actual soccer field. This is when we were informed that the contract was finalized and signed, and there was nothing that the county could do. Since then, we have been told many times that if the impact was known, that it would not have been allowed to continue. From our perspective, this does not reflect a fair and transparent process. Significant concerns were clearly communicated, yet the agreement still moved forward without fully considering the impact on Minto minor sports groups and the youth who rely on these fields. This is not acceptable to our organization. We want to be clear, the user group did nothing wrong. They made a request and it was approved. Our concern is with the process behind the decision. We believe it is now up to this council, knowing the facts and before the next election, to address these items and make them right. From our perspective, we want to make sure soccer is recognized in this room as a valuable and inclusive activity for all ages in this community. To support that, we are respectfully requesting, one, that bylaws are established to better protect all parks and recreation spaces, including restricting unauthorized vehicles access to fields and parks unless specifically designated. 2, the development of clear user policies that reflect Minto's commitment to its local families and community groups, ensuring they are supported and considered in the decision-making. 3, that soccer be formally included in the Town of Recreation's master plan so it is recognized, supported, and protected as a part of Minto Recreational's future. 4, the installation of appropriate field barriers to help protect these important community assets. I just wanted to close by saying, I hope my words are not heard in anger, but more in passion for a sport that means so much to many kids in our community. As a volunteering coach, I've been deeply involved in this for some time, and while challenges have been faced and have been frustrating, they have come from a place of wanting to see this done right for our players and families. I thank you for your time.
Excellent, Jeff. Thank you. Good job. I mean, that was very well presented. Do we have questions? I mean, you've laid it out very clear. And I mean, not going to give you any, I'm not giving you any response tonight. I mean, you and I've had a lot of dialogue on it. And I admit that we possibly have went a little bit south on this.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So I can tell you that, and I know we've had the discussion, you said it, it's an election year, and there's no guarantee that any one of us will be here in December when you're dealing with the
Correct.
next council.
And that's why for us,
Yeah.
bylaws and policies are so important, right? It transcends the day after election, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we want to see.
Yeah, so a couple other things that I want to be clear on as well, and one is the contract is in effect with the Upper Canada Two-Cylinder Club, and there's 2 nights that they're going to use that soccer field, okay?
Yep.
But after that, they have guaranteed that they will make sure that the soccer pitch is in good shape. At that time, you, me, and others, council members, park staff, will have a look at it to make sure that it is in good shape so you can finish your year, this year. And then we'll look at, so in the meantime, we need to make a motion to accept your delegation and for information. And going forward, we definitely need to work together.
For sure.
So you have my commitment on that.
Sounds good.
Okay. So, Annalene, would you please read the motion?
That Council of the Town of Minto receives delegation from Minto United Soccer Club for information. And further, the council directs staff to bring a report and recommendation for the Town of Minto Palmerston Soccer Field use to a future meeting.
Okay. Councillor Potnowitz, are you making that motion? Can I have a seconder? Councillor Zimmerman? Does everybody understand? Is there other questions? Sure. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm interested in the word condemn.
Condemn.
How does a soccer pitch get condemned and does that?
So when we reviewed the status of where everything was at, we made it. We, as well as the North Perth Soccer League, made it so that we took the children in mind with what should they be able to pay through because of the damage to the field because of an RV being pulled through it. There was ruts which caused enough of a drop that would actually cause an issue with if they stepped into it, they would roll their ankles at that point. So it was deemed unfit to continue, I guess is maybe way better.
Did that impact I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I apologize.
Kids who play soccer.
I guess
so I'm
I
not
should apologize
familiar.
more.
I had to find out where the soccer pitch was.
So I apologize for that. I've lived in this world for the last 4 or 5 months now,
Yeah.
so I know way too much information, and so I apologize for that. At the back of the fields, on behind the Palmerston Arena,
Yeah.
there is we've transformed the full pitch, which was the huge one, into 3 individual small sections, just so that we could be able to do more. And we moved our full program, our big run, to Norwell, just because that field was accessible for them. And the Norwell school wanted to keep that big field present on their facility so that they could use it. So we put it into 3 different sections. As they pulled out some of the RVs, when they left, after the event, it was pulled through. It was quite muddy I'm sorry, quite rainy, and it kind of was loose. So as they pulled through, they actually, in the center of two of our pitches, rutted at some holes at that point in time, and made it so that they were repaired and put with loose soil. But at that point in time, it still is not enough for us to continue at that point in time.
So did it affect the soccer season? Were you able to
Yes,
find, were there other places that you could go to? Like, I'm sorry for my ignorance. I just don't.
No. So what we ended up having to do is move all of our home games to away games. So we played and the thing is that that last couple of weeks that we lost was playoffs. And so for our kids, the kids that actually played well, they should have got home field advantage, and they should have been able to play in front of their friends, parents, and whatever else. Instead, they moved to whatever other team that they were playing hosted the Minto teams at that point in time, and that's what we want to try to avoid.
So we have soccer pitches in Palmerston.
Correct.
I did drive by those, but
Correct.
my husband drive me by because
Yep.
show me a soccer pitch. I don't
Yeah,
know what we're
yeah.
talking about here. Are there some in Harrison? And there's one in Clifford, I understand.
So there is what we call a kitty kickers in Hairston, which is like so kitty kickers. About 2 years ago, we were asked to take over the grassroots program of the town,
Okay.
and so when we did that, in Soccer Canada, they call it kitty kickers, and so we kind of have to comply with that. So we call it kitty kickers instead of grassroots, and that's just the way it went. And we decided that. I'm sorry, we didn't decide, but one of the stipulations of us taking over grassroots was actually to have a grassroots or kitty kickers in each of the three towns. So Clifford, Hairston, and Palmerston.
Yep.
So there is a kitty kicker field in each one of those locations, and there is a full field in Clifford. The issue that we have currently right now is about 52% of our people live in Palmerston and actually bike, walk, things like that to that location. As well, we've heard that for Palmerston, it's closer to go to Wallace or to Drayton for a drive, which would potentially put at risk our program that we're trying to do. And that's why, and again, it's a great question to ask, and that's what we went out to our community, but yeah, our soccer community, just to make sure to clarify that, because we want to make sure that everybody's doing, and we do the right thing for us.
Okay, thank you. That helps because, as I say, I haven't had kids
Well,
playing soccer for a long, long time.
And like I said, I've lived in it so long that I apologize. I sometimes skip details.
Thank you.
So are we ready for the question? All in favor of the motion? That's Barry. Thank you.
We don't know which one it is.
Oh, sorry.
It's a surprise.
I apologize. Okay, thank you very much for your time, and hope to hear from you.
Okay, and so if you want, we'll take a few minutes and you guys can either vacate or you can stay here for the rest of the meeting.
I think there's enough warm that they'll probably vacate for the door. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Jeff. What's that?
Sure.
Yeah, you can leave them here and we'll just, yeah, you can put them there. Sure. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, it's too bad. It's too bad we hadn't have announced that earlier. It's too bad we hadn't announced that earlier.
I apologize. They were in another person's.
Okay, so we're going to move along to correspondence. We have a recommendation moved by Deputy Mayor Anderson, second by Councillor Dirksen, that the council receives correspondence as information. There's 4 items. Is there anything there that anybody wants to talk about? We've got a couple of conservation authorities not agreeing with each other there. Ed? I don't want to put you on the spot, but
We
it's
did,
all,
at our last meeting, we did come up with some
concerns that we're going to present back to the governing board, I guess. It looks like it's gonna be a done deal, but there's still some hope that maybe there could be something in the wind that we could cancel it if we get enough, negative responses back. So we'll see where it goes.
Well, good luck with that. Anything else that we want to discuss? All in favor of the correspondence? It's carried. Thank you. We'll move to reports, and I'll pass the chair to Councillor Gunson.
Thank you, Mayor Turton. Tonight we got 3 reports, and we have Mike McIsaac here to talk about all 3. The first one's a pedestrian crossover installation report. Go ahead, Mike.
Thank you, Chair Gunson. Yeah, the first report here is just regarding the potential pedestrian crossover on Arthur Street at John Street. Back in 2019, Triton Engineering, we did do an investigation on that location. That was a follow-up from our previous installations of the one on Allure Street North, George Street, Arthur Street East at George Street. And then we did complete the one on Allure Street South. So this was as a follow-up, just to cover the bases off all 4 locations. At that time, pedestrian crossover wasn't warranted at that location. And then since then, we had that letter received back in 2021. And then even at that time too, it was kind of tabled that if the timing worked out or funds available or construction worked out in that area, we would look at the situation once again. And then since with us receiving the Connecting Link funding, we thought this would be an opportunity to install one at this location. It's more of a preferred desire line for pedestrians to use. It doesn't necessarily have the pedestrian counts at that location, but it is a definite desire line with the location of the park, as well as the medical center, dentist, and midwives there, as well as it is a highly used location from even residents at the Crescent Care as well, just coming up the back streets towards downtown there. So with this report, we are looking for council to pass a bylaw in open session, just essentially endorsing the location and the installation of pedestrian crossover.
Thanks, Mike. I'll read the recommendation. Moved by Councillor Zimmerman, second by Councillor Podnowitz. That the Council of the Town of Minto hereby receives report PW 2026-019 pedestrian crossover installation report prepared by the Roads and Drainage Manager for information purposes. And further, that the Council of the Town of Minto directs staff to proceed with the installation of the Level 2 Type B pedestrian crossover as presented at the intersection of Arthur Street West and John Street in Harrison. And further, the Council of Town of Minto pass a bylaw in open session. Any questions for Mike? Mayor Turton.
Thank you, Chair. So Mike and I have talked about this numerous times, and this corner will be accessible when we're finished.
Yes, that is
And,
correct.
The other issue that I've heard lately is when you go across Arthur Street, to the corner of there's a not a good way to get from there to the other side of the road. So you've agreed that there's going to be a sidewalk on up Mill going towards the old town hall on the left.
Yes, that's correct. There's going to be, like, it's not going to be extended all the way down Mill Street, but it will better align with that the sidewalk on the opposite side of Mill Street. I guess that'd be the south-ish corner there. And then at a future time during road reconstruction, sidewalk, I think ideally sidewalk does go right down the north east side all the way down the back through the park kind of thing, better alignment with everything along that corridor. But that would be at a future reconstruction date somewhere way down the future.
Any other questions? Councillor Zimmerman.
So this new crosswalk on Arthur Street is going to have the flashing orange lights
Yep.
on the sides?
Yep.
Is there any thought ever to put a light out in the center? Overhead, like they used to be at all crosswalks? Because I find that those side lights are hard to pick up. That not everybody's looking to the side of the road for an orange light.
There,
If there was something
yeah.
out in the center,
So there's minimum distances that we have to meet for the location of those lights to be, or I guess it's for the signage above,
yeah.
and then the lights themselves, it's just with the style of that, of PXOs for that, that's the requirement of that.
I think the government has missed the mark on that. My personal, whatever. I digress. Thank you. Chair.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's passed. Thank you. Number 2, Young Street tender. Go ahead, Mike.
Thank you. Yeah, this is just the results of the tender for the rehabilitation of the Young Street Bridge. We did receive 4 bids on this one, if I remember right. I'm getting these 2 tenders mixed up. But all the tenders received for this project were all under budget, which was a positive thing.
4 bids.
There were 4 bids. Yeah, and all 4 were under budget, which was positive. And with Bayton from Stony Creek had the low bid of $812,440. Is there any questions with this one?
Thanks, Mike. I'll read the recommendation moved by Councillor Dirksen, second by Deputy Mayor Anderson. The Council of the Town of Minto hereby receives report PW 2026-020 tender results. Rehabilitation of Young Street Bridge, Harrison, prepared by the Roads and Drainage Manager for information purposes. And further, the Council of the Town of Minto awards contract number 5172-26, rehabilitation of Young Street Bridge, Harrison to 258528 Ontario Inc., DBA Benton of Stony Creek for a total tender price of $812,440, excluding HST. Any questions for Mike on this one? Mayor Turt?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. What's the timing on this, Mike? How long is it gonna take? When are we starting? And what's the detour?
Those were exactly my questions.
Sorry, I butted in.
No.
Well, the timing windows for in-water works will be mid-June till the end of August, early September. So it probably will be almost the full season from as soon as we can, we'll set up a site pre-construction meeting, and then the contractor will provide us with the timelines associated to it. I can't say for sure, but it will be completed by the end of the season.
So do we walk down the street and tell the neighbors that the street is closed for 4 months?
I think there's 3 parcel or properties right directly affected by this, and I will be touching base with all the properties there. Yeah.
Thank you.
Councillor Dirksen, do you have anything different?
No, those were exactly my questions.
Okay. Any other questions? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Thank you. Number 3, Arthur Street tender. Last
Okay,
one, Mike.
Last tender for the season for me, I believe. Yeah, so this is the results of the Arthur Street tender. So with this project, it kind of grew legs between our initial submission, which we were denied from the province, to our latest. In the original submission, we were basically just doing storm, sidewalks, and road reconstruction. It was probably a good thing that we didn't get that one, because we did end up having to include some bridge work, the pedestrian crossover, and then some improvements at the stoplights as well. So those are the major components to this project. There is a little bit of water and sanitary work to be completed. But there's like the actual underground infrastructure isn't going to be that much of a burden to this project. The bridge rehabilitation and for pedestrian safety and accessibility, that's probably going to be the most challenging part with this project right now that we can foresee. With this tender, we did receive 3 bids. They were between on budget and up to $1 million over proposed budget there. So the low bid being from Steven Evans. If there's any questions on this?
Thanks, Mike. I'll read the recommendation. Moved by Councillor Ponowitz, second by Councillor Dirksen. That the Council of the Town of Minto hereby receives report PW 2026-021 tender results. Reconstruction of Arthur Street West, Harrison, prepared by the Roads and Drainage Manager for information purposes. Further, that the Council of the Town of Minto awards contract number 6652-26, reconstruction of Arthur Street West, Harrison, to Steeden Evans Limited for a total tender price of $3,363,200 excluding HST. Questions for Mike? Mayor Turton.
Something along the same line as the bridge. Is it going to be one-way traffic? There's going to be through traffic, like people coming up 23 into town
Yeah.
on a Friday night. It might be tough sledding there.
So while they're working from the west end to John Street, there will be one lane accessible at all time. When they're working on the bridge, I have heard that they possibly will have to close that intersection. So we're going to be looking at detour with Margaret Street and actually trying to detour heavy truck traffic around the 7th line around town that way. Apparently that was used in 2007 when they did the last rehabilitation, and it seemed to work okay. So there's going to be a combination of detours for that. And then the primary underground work that is going to be taking place is from the lights down to John Street. So that section for those 2 blocks will have to be closed.
So would you consider the people that are coming from Listowel through to Clifford, would you consider diverting them out to Wellington or
87.
7?
Yeah, it is a possibility. We'll have to work with the contractor
Yep.
and just see what does make sense for the appropriate detours there. Yeah.
And sorry, the starting date, did you say that?
It'll be the same thing. We're hoping that Steeden Evans is really wanting to get going on this project, so possibly by the end of May. This is a 2-year window for this project to be completed. So we do anticipate that the majority of the work is going to be done in 26 with the possibility of the surface asphalt deficiency sort of thing in 27. So just minor works in 27. But the final deadline for that is April of 28 for the final report on that. So we do have 27 if there is something that
We're looking at Palmerston and Hairston pretty well finishing up at the same time.
it very well could be.
Till next time.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Mike?
So
Counselor.
you did mention Margaret Street as a detour route.
Scary.
It's not in the best of shape as it is.
It's in the budget for resurfacing this year.
Yeah,
So I'm hoping that that's done in early May.
okay.
I'm working with EC King on that to try to get that coordinated before construction starts on Arthur.
You will make a lot of residents quite happy when you do that.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Thank you, Mike. I'm going to pass the chair to Councillor Dirksen.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. And we have one item on the agenda this evening for finance, and I'll turn it over to Treasurer Duff to take us through the report.
Great. Thank you, Chair Dirksen. So this is one that I worked on with our clerk. It does affect council, but not at the moment. This is something that we're proposing for the next term of council. Basically, it's a good idea to review before the next election how fair or how comparable is our compensation to you as counselors. So we did look at quite a few other municipalities of comparable size. A lot of people are doing the same thing, so we took advantage of the surveys that were going. Probably we saw about 50 different municipalities all across Ontario, roughly the 10,000 to 25,000 range. I guess the good news is by and large, Minto is pretty close to the average. So we prepared to consider larger changes, but when we sat back and we looked, we thought it's more a bit of tinkering, I think, that we need to do. The biggest change is we are increasing slightly the differential between deputy mayor and councillors, recognizing that the deputy mayor does have a bit more responsibility and duties in the absence of the mayor, or if we happen to have a, hopefully we don't, but a long emergency, you need a head of council. And you also have to take care of that. The other change is maybe going a bit the other way. We're reducing the maximum for the healthcare spending account from 2,000 to 1,000, and that is in line with what we adjusted to all employees as part of our last budget too. So other than that, we're leaving the benefits the same and the salaries largely the same. And if you accept these amounts, they would still be adjusted by the cost of living given to the employees in that year too. So anyway, a bit of background, but not a huge change. And Claire,
Sorry,
Yeah.
if I can, just a couple things. The healthcare spending account is changed from 2,000 down to 1,000.
Yeah.
That was something that had been discussed. But also, sorry, within the motion to you, Chair Dirksen, if I can just change it to receive report finance 2026-012. I had the wrong number into that motion.
Oh.
Sorry. Thank
Probably
you.
would have caught that when I read it, because
Mhm.
we've had a lot more than that. Okay. Okay, are there any questions or comments? Deputy Mayor Anderson.
Just my concerns with the remuneration for council is it seems unclear. We're still not clear on who puts in for what because the amounts we put in for are varying differently. So some people go to council or to committees or to conferences and there's no committee they have to put in for committees. So I don't think we quite understand clearly what we're supposed to be putting under what because the difference is when we review the final costs like we did in February. Some people have all kinds of per diems and some people have none at all. Well, if you went to a conference, you should have per diems because that's the only place you can put them in for. So it confuses me every year. And I ask this question all the time and I'm just sort of bewildered how that goes. So whether we need more explanation or we need to be more open about how we put in for things, it seems to be an ongoing thing. Because how can somebody go to conferences because they put in for mileage and food and stuff, but they don't have any per diems. And other people have per diems, but they didn't attend any conferences. Because from my understanding, we should only have per diems at conferences. Am I correct or incorrect?
That's outlined in clause 5, yes.
Because but that's the way it's always been, hasn't it? This isn't a change because it doesn't reflect that way at the end of our year reports. They make no sense to me. And maybe I'm the only person that it bothers, but it raises questions about who does what and who's done what. There doesn't seem to be clarity.
Does anyone have a comment on that?
Yep. So
Mayor Turk?
is that something that we can maybe, every new council, you do training, we do training. So that's maybe something you can put in your
Yes.
pocket to
Yeah.
make sure the new people and the old people,
To review.
that's not fair, the old people,
Yeah.
people with experience can be brought up to snuff.
And like, if we put it in incorrectly, can you tell us that, how'd you go to a conference and not put in any per diem? Just so that we know what we're doing, because otherwise the stuff gets paid, and I think you just pay it and they go and it all comes out in the wash. But it's very confusing to me, and if it's confusing to me, I'm sure it's confusing to the public, and we know just to keep things equitable and fair, and reasonable, and looking reasonable, I just think if we
Can we
put
do
it
that?
in incorrectly, somebody says, hey, you gotta put this in, not this in. Just my thoughts on it.
So through you, Chair Dirksen, certainly most people hand them to me first, and then I hand them off to be signed off on. I will certainly scrutinize them and let you know if I see any obscure things that you're missing, putting in or whatever, just to make sure. And I can certainly write out something that is very clear to send out to all members of council, just so everyone is on the same page, if that would be useful. Just for the per diems and mileage and everything else. I mean, we do have a policy as well, and I'll just make sure, sometimes reminders are good, and maybe make sure that we are getting them in at least quarterly, because I think sometimes it may show up at different times, because if people are not putting them in on a quarterly basis, it may not show up at a time when it's being reported on for 1 year, et cetera. So yeah, we'll make sure that going forward, that is something that we will work on
Yeah,
for
because
sure.
I think people are just a little reluctant to talk about these things, and we used to get paid differently for education and training, and now it seems the only thing that would be extra would be per diems at the conference. Everything else is part of our regular council work.
Well, training is also included though.
Seminars.
In number
conferences,
5.
yeah.
Workshops.
Anything besides committee and council meetings would fall under number 5, pretty much anyways.
That's
Um,
correct.
And whether or not people decide to put in for it, I guess is the next question, but.
Anyways, just
Okay, any further questions? Okay, I will read the recommendation moved by Councillor Zimmerman, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson, that the Council of the Town of Minto hereby receives report clerk 2026.
Sorry, if I can. Finance 2026-012.
Finance, yes. this is
Thank you.
finance, sorry. Finance 2026-012. The 2026-20. That's gonna take some time to get used to saying that. 2026 to 2030 council remuneration prepared by the Treasurer and Director of Legislative Services / clerk for information. And further, that the 2026-2030 council remuneration bylaw be brought forward for consideration at the next regularly scheduled council meeting. Any further questions? All in favor? Thank you. That carries.
Yeah.
Thank you, Treasurer Duff, and I will turn the chair back to the mayor.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Dirksen, who wants to start the announcements? Maybe we'll start here with Deputy Mayor Anderson. Do you want to start tonight?
I don't really have any.
Okay, then we'll move on to Mr. Councillor Zimmerman.
Well, it just so happens that I have a couple of items. Thank you, Mayor.
How did
Kurt.
that happen? How did that happen?
I don't know how this falls into my lap every time.
Life does,
So let's see, Saturday, April 25th. That's this coming Saturday, actually, from 8 in the morning till 10 a.m. Norwell Relay for Life. Let me try that again. Relay for Life. Community breakfast is happening at Norwell District Secondary School cafeteria. And that's put on by the students. The address is 135 Cumberland Street, for those of you that don't know where Norwell School is. Cost is $10 a ticket, full breakfast, eggs, sausage, pancakes, fruit, muffins, coffee, tea, and juice. All proceeds are going to this year's Relay for Life, which is actually taking place on May 29th, for those that have forgotten that presentation from our student. That's at Between the Lines in Listowel from 12 noon until midnight. You can go on the website relayforlife.ca/Norwell and make a donation if you prefer. That would be great. That goes to cancer research, which is vitally important. And this week is National Volunteer Week. And Minto Council and staff are hosting our annual volunteer dinner April 23rd at 6 p.m. in the Clifford Community Hall. I would imagine it's a sold out event already. And this is where council and staff can meet and greet and talk to our many, many volunteers who we are exceptionally grateful for doing what they do. So, look forward to seeing you there Thursday. Friday, May 1st. So that's a little ways away yet, but get on it. Knox Calvin Presbyterian Church in Harrison is having a fish fry. And that's a takeout event. It's $27 a person. And you get yourself a nice piece of trout, potato, vegetable, coleslaw, rolled in dessert, plus all the fixing. You need to call the church at 519-338-2624 for ticket information. And that's enough. There's.
Thank you very much, Councillor Zimmerman. Councillor Dirksen.
I think you only took one of mine. No, I'm thrilled.
I had more.
So I wanted to mention the Grey Wellington Theatre Guild has a comedy going on. Having Hope at Home, tickets are just $20, and that show starts April 24th and it ends May 3rd. There are 6 shows in all, and you can get your tickets at the Harrison Home Hardware or at greywellingtontheatre.com. I'll send you this, Greg. Don't be rushing. Don't be trying to get that down. May 2nd is the Clifford Rotary Duck Race, and that goes from 11 to 1. That's on Saturday. And so you can buy a duck and watch it float down the river and support Rotary. And also on May 2nd, the Harrison Agricultural Society is having a spring tea. And that runs from 1:30 till 4 at the Harrison United Church, and it's $15 at the door, and you don't even have to dress up.
Doc, thank you, Councillor Dirksen. We'll start down at the other end with Lionette. Councillor Podnovitz.
Somebody's taking all the announcements.
Have you not talked to Councillor Elliott this week?
I don't think, I like talking to them at all.
Thank you, Councillor Gunson.
Yeah, I do have some hockey updates. I didn't talk to Councillor Elliott, but the 81s lost their first game in Newfoundland 3-1 against the host team. And I believe they're playing right now. You can watch it online, but it's expensive. So it's $25 a game or $155 for the tournament,
Wow.
which is excessive. So I got my father-in-law to pay for himself, and I took his password and username, so I'm able to watch it. Anyways, he's watching it right now. But a better announcement is so the team I'm associated with, the Surge U13A, they were able to host the OHF championship this past weekend. And for those who don't know what that is, it's 5 teams come to that. So the All Ontario champion, they come to that tournament. The Northern Ontario champion comes to that tournament. The Greater Toronto Hockey League sends a champion, and the Alliance sends a champion, and then the host team, which was Southeast Surge. So 5 teams played in Listowel this past weekend. So it's a round robin format, and our team finished 3rd in round robin, which put us into the semifinals on Sunday, and we won our semifinal game in OT overtime 4-3, and that put us in the championship game against the Sarnia Junior Sting, and we defeated them 10-4 in the finals. So we came victorious. The teams that were there, so the OMHA champion was St. Mary's Rock. Northern Ontario was Temiskaming Shores Puckhounds. GTHL was Leaside Flames in alliance with Sarnia. On that team, there's 3 Minto players, Carter Wick, Hayden Wessendorf, and my son Ryder Gunson. And Bella Hill, who is also from Minto, is one of the assistant trainers, and I was the trainer. So I just want to congratulate those boys, and it's a big accomplishment to win that tournament. It's a really big accomplishment, and we were just hoping we could survive in that tournament. And when we come out as winners, it was very exciting. So just want to congratulate them, and yeah. So maybe we'll see those 3 young men in this chambers.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Couple things. June 25th, the Drayton Festival Theater. There's 4 municipalities chambers sponsoring Nashville Live. It's a show, singing and dancing, and there's a instead of paying the regular price, it's $40. So it's a June 25th is a Friday night, Thursday night, pardon me. Second thing I'd just like to say is the Clifford Outdoor Show. Our friends up in Clifford did an excellent job. The Rotary Club and a lot of volunteers. Both days were very busy, and I'm sure they did very well. And the third thing is our local curling teams have been doing very well, the students. The Palmerston Farm Boys, I believe they won province, so they'll be here as well. They did very well. And this week, they're in a tournament in Guelph and Fergus. There's five Palmerston teams down there competing in it's a festival. So we'll look forward to hearing the good news. Other than that, thank you, and we're going to move along here. We have a resolution moved by Councillor Gunson, seconded by Councillor Dirksen, that the Council of the Town of Minto, that the Committee of the Whole convene into the regular council. All in favor of the motion? Carried, thank you. Moved by Councillor Zimmerman, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson, that the Council of the Town of Minto ratifies the motions made in the Committee of the Whole. All in favor of that motion? That's carried. We're into bylaws here, the third reading of Drain 119. That's moved by Councillor Potnovich, second by Councillor Zimmerman, that bylaw 2025-030 be read a third time, passed in open council, seal the corporation. All in favor of that motion? Carried, thank you. Moved by Councillor Gunson, second by Councillor Dirksen, that bylaw 2026-020 and 2026-021 be read a first, second, and third time, passed in open council, seal the corporation. All in favor of that motion? That's carried. Thank you. Confirmatory moved by Councillor Zimmerman, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson, that bylaw 2026-022 confirm actions of the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Minto respecting a meeting held April 21st, 2026 be read a first, second, and third time, passed in open council, and sealed with the seal of the corporation. All in favor of the motion? Thank you. That's carried. Adjournment moved by Councillor Dirksen, seconded by Councillor Gunson, that the Council of the Town of Minto adjourn to meet again to call the mayor. All in favor of the motion? Thank you very much for a very productive meeting tonight. Certainly